Hello, everyone. Welcome to 100 Yards Football Sports Talk Radio. I'm going to be your host and producer this afternoon, Logan Landers, and joining me to talk about the AFC Championship game this upcoming weekend between the Baltimore Ravens and Kansas City Chiefs is my guy, Mr. Football, Vincent Turner. How you doing this afternoon, Vincent?
Hey, man, I'm doing real well today.
Good.
Can't wait until Sunday. We're down to the last four teams, and then we're going to have two teams that's going to be going to Las Vegas for the Super Bowl.
Yes, sir. Down to the Final Four. We're talking the AFC side in this video. Of course, in the next video we're going to be doing is the NFC side between the 49ers and the Lions, so you don't want to miss that one. But before we get started talking about these Ravens and these Chiefs, if you enjoy this episode, ladies and gentlemen, give us a like, follow, share, and, of course, subscribe so you don't miss a single episode. We go live each and every single week on Facebook and YouTube, our main two hubs. But you can also check us out on our podcast, thanks to the fine folks at the Believe Podcast Network, where we go have our shows put up in audio fashion each and every single week. So go over there and check us out. If you enjoy podcasts on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever it is you enjoy listening to your shows, you can find us over there. Well, Vincent, let's get into it. As we always do with game previews, I'll be handling the offense, and you'll be covering the defense. And let's talk about these high-flying Baltimore Ravens, what all they've been up to, and how they got here. Well, we all know that last week the Baltimore Ravens had a really good season up against a tough task in the young, up-and-coming Houston Texans. They surprised a lot of people with the way that C.J. Stroud had been playing. But Baltimore, man, they took care of business last week, 34-10. I thought it was going to be a little bit closer, but Baltimore got it nonetheless. And, look, we know the star of the show in Baltimore with the Ravens is the man behind center, number 8, Lamar Jackson. Front runner for the MVP award, looking to win his second in his young career. I mean, he just destroyed the Texans defense. There's no way around it. Threw the ball in the air for 152 yards with 2 touchdowns, and then he ran the ball for 2 touchdowns for 100 yards on 11 carries for a 9.1 average. And that's the thing about this Baltimore offense. Obviously, it's going to run through Lamar first and foremost. But the thing I liked last week, Vincent, that adds another wrinkle to this Ravens team is that the other running backs in Baltimore got it going. They did their part, and they ran the ball great. Justice Hill, 13 carries, 66 yards, 5.1 average. Gus Edwards, 10 carries for 40 yards for a 4.0 average. And even Dalvin Cook, who hasn't even been on the team that long, he even contributed for a little bit, 8 carries for 23 yards. All in all, they ran the ball 42 times, 229 yards, and they were just doing whatever really they wanted to with that Texans defense. They were having tremendous. And when you talk about time of possession, my goodness, 37 minutes, 35 seconds is how long Baltimore had the ball for on offense. They were just eating the clock away. They were putting up points in bunches, and they were looking great. Only thing they can improve on, Lamar Jackson was sacked 3 times. Other than that, though, Vincent, they were rolling. They looked great. Receiving core, Zay Flowers led the way, 4 catches, 41 yards. Rashad Bateman had a good game as well. And it looks like they're going to get their tight end, Mark Andrews, back after he's been out for quite some time with an injury. But it looks like he is all good to go. Curious to see how they're going to integrate him in this this AFC Championship game after being out for quite some time. So we'll see what he can do against this Kansas City team. But Vincent, go ahead and talk about this Ravens defense and what you've liked about them this season.
Well, I'm going to go back when they played San Francisco in the regular season a couple of Monday nights ago. And coming out of that game, and I saw how their defense played at a high level, I said, you know what? We heard about the offense, and you just brought up Lamar Jackson, but defensively, I didn't know they were that good. To me, they're a Super Bowl defense. And one player that stuck out to me that seemingly is really playing up to his level, former first-round pick out of South Carolina, Devonian Clowney, is played at a level that I haven't seen him play until he was early in the league. This year, 9 sacks on the year, 43 tackles, and he looked real comfortable in that defense. And then I started looking down at Ravens defense. I'm looking at all these great players, Logan. The playmakers, Raekwon Smith out of the University of Georgia. Go Dogs to you, Logan. Mm-hmm. Might be the best linebacker in the game right now while we're talking. Patrick Queen out of LSU. He might be the second best linebacker in the game. Kyle Hamilton, local guy, because we broadcast out of Douglasville, Georgia, here at Metro Atlanta. The guy went to Maris. Kyle Hamilton is playing at all pro level. And then Roll Tide, Marlon Humphrey is a hell of a football player. Then Marcus Williams, an outstanding football player they brought over from New Orleans. Roland Darby, another guy, a very steady veteran that played with the Philadelphia Eagles. So what I'm saying here, the Ravens have a Super Bowl defense, and it's going to be very interesting them going up against Patrick Mahomes and how they're going to contain him on Sunday afternoon.
Yes, sir. Well said. It's going to be a fun matchup, that high-flying, that Ravens offense against this Chiefs defense. We'll get into that in just a second. Flipping the script, though, talking about this Chiefs offense, and, man, they had a tough game against the Buffalo Bills to get here. Unfortunately, the wind was not a very nice friend for Buffalo. Missed game-tying field goal to end the game in that one. Kansas City, I think you can say they escaped with the win, 27-24. Looking at this team, obviously you're led by Patrick Mahomes, your superstar quarterback. Had a really efficient day, didn't get picked off any, didn't get sacked any. Credit to the O-line. 2 touchdowns for 215 through the air. Was getting it done. But a guy who I think, Vincent, has maybe been one of the MVPs for this team has been Isaiah Pacheco. I mean, he has really got it rolling in the offense in terms of his rushing game in the postseason. 15 carries last week for 97 yards and a score, 6.5 average. He's done great work. And then a receiving core, it's, normally you think of, it's Travis Kelce and some other guys, but Rashee Rice has made a great impact. 4 catches for 47. Also did some good work against Miami in that first-round matchup. But, I think the Kansas City offense, you know what to expect. Heavy dose of Patrick Mahomes, scrambling, running around with the ball. And then I think if they can get Pacheco in check and have things rolling with him, this Kansas City offense, a lot of people didn't expect them to maybe go this far. They had somewhat of a down season, you could say. But 6 straight appearances in the AFC Championship is impressive. There's no way to look around that. And I think that KC has obviously a really stout offense. Have had some issues with some drops here and there, but obviously this is a bright moment. You got to get through this one if you want to get back to the Super Bowl and try and get another title under your belt. So I expect KC to come out with some fire and that offense to be churning with Pacheco, Mahomes, Kelce, and Rice. I think those are some really good players they got. We'll see what they can do. But talk about this defense, though, Vincent, in Kansas City.
Well, you just brought up a good point, Mr. Landers. We know Kansas City has struggled this year offensively. Not having Tyreek Hill this year, not having a lot of great pieces, and their receivers have dropped a lot of passes. So basically, Kansas City, to me, wouldn't be at this spot, at least it was their defense. Nick Bolden has played at a high level. Chris Jones is one of the top 3 defensive tackles in the game. And a cornerback who gave up his first touchdown last season, L'Jarius Sneed, has played at a level like Deion Sanders, Lynn Barney, Mike Haynes, Lester Hayes. Let's get a Chiefs defense some credit here, because the Chiefs wouldn't be here if it wasn't for their defense. That's how I look at it. And I'm looking at this Chiefs defense going up against Lamar Jackson on Sunday and making people believe again. Because Kansas City is all about Patrick Mahomes in the offense. But this year they have taken a step back offensively. The receivers, as you just mentioned, there's been a series of drops throughout the season, and Kansas City has struggled. But the reason they're here, Mr. Landers, to the team out of Kansas City, Missouri, the Chiefs, it's been their defense. And Steve Spagnuolo.
Yes, sir. You ain't wrong about that. Kansas City has been it's been a weird year for them. Like you said, normally we think of what all they've done with Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce and company. You think of that tremendous offense. But this year it's really been the defense that has stepped up to the plate and played a big factor. And that's a reason why they're here, why they're in their 6th straight AFC championship game. Kudos to Andy Reid and company for having another solid season. Top 4 team in the league. No questions about that. But it's time, Vincent. Which team we're going to pick to represent the AFC in the Super Bowl? For me, I'm going to have to go with the Baltimore Ravens. I think they are just on fire right now. They have a great offense, and their defense, as you mentioned, is probably tops in the league in a lot of categories. They have some tremendous ball hawks, ball players out there. So give me Baltimore in this one, a close one, 28-24, my final score. Baltimore, I got you going to the Super Bowl. Vincent, your thoughts?
I'm going to say this very shortly and very quietly. I like what the Baltimore Ravens have done this year with Lamar Jackson, the great story. They average, 170 yards rushing a game. I think they're leading the league in rushing. And then I'm looking at them, everybody's saying, hey, that's the team that's going to go to the Super Bowl. But I'm not going to bet against the Kansas City Chiefs The reason I say this, look what the Chiefs have lost over the years. Like I said, they lost Tariq Hill. They lost several other pieces to their offense. And Patrick Mahomes has struggled with this receiving core. But they 13-6, Logan. 13-6. And it's because they now a more balanced football team. If the Chiefs defense holds Lamar Jackson, and I say that Baltimore Ravens offense under 120 yards rushing, Kansas City is going to win the game going away. And you saw last week with the Chiefs, Rashid Rice, Marquez Vandale-Skelling, and of course, Travis Kelce having with Taylor Swift in the house, baby, is that the Chiefs are playing at a high level. And it's something that I saw last week. You look at Patrick Mahomes, and people are not really knowing what he's doing right now. 6 straight AFC championship games at the age of 28. 3 Super Bowls and 2 victories. Right now, I know we talked about Tom Brady being the GOAT. And he played how long, Logan, till he was, 45?
Yes, sir, at a high level.
Okay, Patrick Mahomes right now is 28 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to bet against the Michael Jordan or the National Football League. I'm taking the Chiefs 31-24.
All right. Well, those are our final scores, guys. We want to hear y'all's in the comments. Who's going to win? You got the Kansas City Chiefs or the Baltimore Ravens going to the Super Bowl and representing the AFC. As always, Mr. Football, Vincent Turner, appreciate you coming on, talking some sports with me, doing some game previews. I've been your host, producer, Logan Landers. Enjoy your weekend, everyone. Go and watch